is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
JJ Wang. We are ready for playoffs coming up. We this week, as with like this week and next week, we are recording before the Sunday night game, so there'll be more information that comes out after we talk. We're gonna go through the Thursday and Sunday slate, but dude, how are you faring for playoffs? How's your teams doing?
It's about 50-50, maybe a little less. It's
Ooh,
about
JJ
50-50. I mean, it happens. I don't think. I guess people are better than me. Some people seem to make like 90% of the leagues. But by the way, I don't tend to believe those people half the times. But it is what it is.
Let's figure my math. Let's see.
No, you don't have to figure me out. I believe you. It's not that big of a deal.
Oh, I made 87% of my leagues this year. 7 out of 8. One of them is a rebuild. I knew that from week 2, but my rebuild team hasn't scored less than 140 since week 9. It's catching fire. It's going to blow up. I'm quite excited. And I'll have 3 of the top 6 picks in that Dynasty League. Oh, baby. I've never had a year be this good. Usually I got some teams dumping. I have one that one's going to back into the – 2 teams are going to back into the playoffs. But I was like, yay. It's been a rough year, though, because making the playoffs isn't so much – well, there's a portion of knowing your stuff, but it's just stinking luck sometimes.
Oh, it's a grind. I mean, like you said – it depends on how many points are scored against you. I mean, you could be not even in the playoffs because you've just had the most points scored against you, and you could be in the playoffs because nobody scores. I mean, I don't want to say it's not. I mean, there is some so you got to know what you're doing a little bit, but a lot of it's just happenstance, man. You just never know how it's going to turn out.
Commissioner thought that I might institute some of our leagues that we do in our big Bourbon Bowl is have the top 5 teams make the playoffs, and team 6 is the highest scoring team that just has the bad luck year. I'm in another league where they do something called VPN, which is called Victory Points, something, whatever N stands for, where basically you get a point based upon what quarter of the league you fall as far as high points for the week. So if you're one of the top 4, you get 4 points that week and so on. And that's how the playoffs, other than division winners, are based upon victory points as opposed to that bad luck guy who, all of us have been that. I was almost that.
I mean, I kind of just like it with the record. I mean, I kind of enjoy it.
We're trying to make it like the NFL, right?
Huh?
Because we're trying to make it like the NFL is the goal of fantasy, correct?
I mean, I guess, but I kind of just like it how it's just if you win enough games and you're in, you're in.
Yeah,
I do understand the high points guy, but like I said, I wouldn't want every league of mine like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy. It's how I got in and made the championship game 2 years ago in that league. But yeah, one of my best teams, I have 1,894.22 points. For against me is 1,798.18. That's the most by like 100 in that league. It's just ridiculously bad luck. But it's been, as we get into the days, it's been a bad week to be a quarterback, hasn't it?
Oh, it depends on if your name's not Baker Mayfield.
Oh, that is true. I mean, I think the secret to this week is you do not want to play quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. And you don't want to be Russell Wilson, who I ranked as my next to last quarterback, having a great game, and then I hope he's okay. But I mean, I'm sitting there watching the game, going, man, I was gonna put in some bids to see if I can get him for next season on the cheap, but plays a game like that, and even if he's out the rest of the year, now he's riding on high, and everybody's like, oh, it's Russell Wilson, and he's gonna be back to costing 3 first rounders.
I don't know. I think it's going to take more than a half a football to erase the stink that he's provided for the whole season.
Good. Don't listen to what I just said, everybody. Don't listen to what I just said and trade me your Russell Wilson. And now a message from our favorite sponsor.
Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Now that we are in season, they offer even more fantasy sports options. You can choose to play 4 to 6 round draft contests with up to 10 people. You can even create your own private draft room.
And that's not all. Underdog also offers pick-em fantasy contests where you decide if players will go higher or lower than a listed stat line, from touchdowns to yards to interceptions and many more. It's a fun way to show your fantasy prowess. Sign up now with the code Couriers, and they'll double your first deposit up to $100 in bonus cash.
And just in case you missed that, when you make your first deposit of $10 or more, deposit $100, get $100 free.
And with their slick mobile app and user-friendly website, you'll have no problem jumping in and drafting your squad or making your best picks.
So join Underdog today, and don't forget to use the code Couriers. A link is in the notes of the podcast.
Now back to the podcast. Booyahs Boohoos. I really want to make a pleasure and pain one, but I think it's just going to come off really inappropriate.
Yeah.
I think that's how we got a lot of hits last year. That hashtag pleasure and pain. I really believe that. And I'm like, ew. But let's hear it. Let's hear what you got for me.
My first Booyah, I was going to go with my favorite team at the moment. That's the San Francisco 49ers, and that's Brock Purdy. Man, can you imagine this team if Trey Lance was quarterback right now?
They'd probably be 1-17.
They'd be killing it. If Brock Purdy could do this, I can imagine what. No, but Brock Purdy, credit, he's out here killing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. I think currently it's like 35-7. 2 passing touchdowns, 1 1 rushing touchdown. They're having a heck of a game. Some people like quarterbacks come into the league like this, takes a couple games, then they start kind of cooling off. But this is the perfect offense for a player like this. And also, I just seen that Deebo Samuel may have avoided serious injury. That looked pretty bad.
I would be curious what would happen to that team. Debo is not having the year of last year, but he's such an integral part of that team that I think if you take him out, even with CMC and Ayuk and Kittle, there's those players that are like the glue. I think he's the glue of that team.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, he's a good player, but like I said, I think they would just end up filling it in another way. It just seems what that.
Oh, they will. I mean, Brock Purdy's looking great. Like we're like, this guy's the next All-Star. He only threw for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns.
But he had the rushing touchdown. I mean,
so good. Yeah, he's got 2 for 3. Yeah, he looks amazing. Good
second Booyah, I'm going to give this one to Jerick McKinnon. Finally, Jerick McKinnon's in an offense where he could finally break out. He's up to, one of the leagues, he's up to 28 fantasy points. He's got 115 receiving yards. Doesn't really rush the ball a whole lot, but he's got 2 touchdowns. Just killing it. So Booyah to him finally for breaking out.
In my league, I have 39.9 points for him because of the bonuses, and that's my team that didn't make the playoffs. That's why it's doing so good now. Like McKinnon's had a good couple of weeks, so it's nice.
Ever since they got rid of Hilaire and just made it like pretty much Pacheco and McKinnon, he's been pretty solid.
I see his role going forward.
As long as he's staying healthy, I can see this kind of being the running back that they want.
Yeah, without the hits, he could last longer.
Yeah, maybe. Next guys, I'm gonna try to get your opinion on him. That's Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's currently had 4 double-digit games out of the last 5. He's looking much better. He's currently like the 45th ranked wide receiver, but over the last month or so, it's got to be probably right around the top 30, I would think, with the games he's had. But what's your thoughts on Donovan Peoples-Jones? Had 100 yards today. He looks decent considering the Browns' offense isn't like rolling right now.
I mean, yeah, I think he's a guy you want to stash on dynasty rosters. He's not a guy I want to start during the playoffs because, last week he had 44, 60. He's had that up and down season. He's got 751 for the season, but only 1 touchdown. So he's like your super, 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 super poor man's Tyreek Hill, right? Which you thought he was. But yeah, I like what they are creating there. I think it's if he can get rapport with Deshaun, who Deshaun still didn't look great, but he still threw for 276 and ran for 33 in a game where they looked abysmal. So he's still putting up the stats, meaning preseason game number 2, I would say was a success for Deshaun Watson coming back, and he's found some targets. If you get him and Cooper and Bell, those 3 guys, they've got decent receivers.
First Boohoos. You mentioned it earlier. That's the Ravens QBs. First Lamar's out. Now Tyler Huntley's out. Now they got some undrafted guy. I don't even know what his name was.
Anthony Brown.
But yeah, that's tough sledding at the moment for the Baltimore Ravens quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's not a good day. Huntley was not doing anything spectacular either. 8 of 12 for 88. Then Brown was 3 of 5 for 16. Brown actually had negative running yards, and that's hard for a Ravens quarterback to have. Huntley only had 31, but I'm hoping it's not true. One thing I read that Lamar might be out till week 16, which would be terrible for me because that week 15 is when no, wait, 14, 15. Oh, okay, I could do that. That's okay for me. Sorry for all of you in the playoffs. That's when I need Lamar back. But imagine the Ravens. I mean, they squeaked by the cruddy Steelers this week, so that gives them a cushion, but they're trying to keep up with the Bungles, and they cannot do that without Lamar. Like Anthony Brown, there's no way. 10-1, if Huntley is out, they're going to pull some numbskull off the street that they'll play before Anthony Brown, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Brown's the third, he's their third quarterback. I mean, he's a project, just some guy they got on the roster. So I'm sure they bring somebody in. Next one, I'm gonna stick with the team theme here. I kind of ran team theme. My poet didn't know it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions RBs. Justin Jackson had the one touchdown, but for a team the offense was looking good, but their running backs at the moment is just kind of scary. If Williams isn't scoring touchdowns, he's no help. Swift, if he's just not really any help at all, and of course you can't start Justin Jackson, so it's kind of scary situation.
Hey, what about C.J. Moore, the safety, running for 42 yards?
No, I guess. I mean,
I just pulled that out. Yeah, Jamal Williams was averaging 2.3. He's getting the touches, so maybe we'll just say the Vikings defense is good against the run.
I thought they were the two of the bottom defenses in the league, but
you could talk about Jared Goff later on, just out of curiosity.
Probably not. No, I wasn't.
Well, then I want to tell you something that I think is a boo you on a commentator. I was watching part of the Lions and Vikings game because without the Dolphins, I get to watch a lot more, and I have it just scouring around. I was like, I want to watch a little bit of this because the Lions are lighting it up. He was comparing Jared Goff and the Lions offense to the greatest show on turf. And what was the other? And another one of the great high flying teams. He's like, if they weren't 5-7, everybody would be like, Jared Goff is the great. I love Jared Goff. Don't get me wrong. You know that. But what is this commentator thinking? That's got to be a boo you for a commentator calling him the greatest show on turf at this point, right?
It's just people just trying to move the needle a little bit, I guess. He's
compared to the Brady. It was the Brady Patriots that spread the ball around the high scoring teams.
They are throwing it all over the place. They're not on that level, but
they're almost 500.
Good job, playing really good right now. They said they still have a chance to win the division if they win out and the Vikings lose out. So see.
I was like, I'm doing the math here. That doesn't work.
All right.
I like the Giants.
Start out here with the pleasure and pain. We'll go pleasure first. I'm going to start with two quarterbacks at the top. That's going to be Trevor Lawrence. That just absolutely killed it today. He put up almost 40 points. Talk about Evan Ingram later, but we'll go ahead and talk about him now. Evan Ingram, he had 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't know how much you can rely on that, but I feel like Ingram at this point, it's pretty much you're going to start him every week. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence is just absolutely murdering it right now. Well, I don't want to say he's murdering it right now, but this game, it makes you feel good about owning Trevor Lawrence.
The last couple of weeks, I was watching some of that game as well in my fun scourings because I love T-Law, and I went from having only one share to a couple of shares, and I'm enjoying that team. My dumpster team going up. He's playing, and they would say, Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be a generational talent, and last year he looked like a generational pile of poo. This year he started out oh no, and recently he's playing really good. Maybe that click happened. Now imagine this Trevor Lawrence next year with Christian Kirk, who's down right now. Zay Jones is coming on. Evan Ingram, he was my favorite tight end in that class. And if he's used right and if he's healthy, really is the key things. ETN in the backfield, they'll draft another running back, and don't forget Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, he's going to be.
This could be the greatest show on turf. Forget Jared Goff.
Yeah, they're going to be good. The next guy I wanted to bring up was Jalen Hurts, right? So they absolutely killed it today. Jalen Hurts is on a crazy run, MVP type, this, that, right? I give him all his credit. But if you're in a dynasty league, who do you want? Are you keeping Jalen Hurts, or would you rather have Trevor Lawrence?
If I had both guys.
Well, yeah, if you had both guys.
No. I personally would probably, if it's dynasty, rather have Trevor Lawrence. If I had both guys, I would try to trade away Jalen Hurts because of the package you would get. I would almost trade Trevor Lawrence if I'd had Jalen Hurts, trade for Trevor Lawrence and a gajillion other picks to get him, because if you look at Hurts, he relies on the legs, and legs of the quarterback last how long?
He doesn't rely on the legs as much as he used to. I mean, he's
Still
throwing.
today he only threw for 217 yards but ran for 77. So there's 7 plus a touchdown. That's 13 extra points that he had, as opposed to if he didn't run today, he would have had 217 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he's
Yeah.
at QB2. I mean, the answer is Jalen Hurts, but looking way ahead, probably Trevor Lawrence, because Jalen Hurts. I mean, this Eagles team is Super Bowl bound right now, barring some fluky Carson Wentz injury like they had before, which I don't think the backups can do what Nick Foles did. I mean, Miles. I don't know. I think I'd rather have Trevor. How about what do you think? What are you thinking there?
I'd probably have Trevor. I mean, I'd probably rather have Trevor. I think this is as high as Jalen Hurts gets. I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence. Yet to see Trevor Lawrence's ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hurts is won't probably be this good again. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'd be happy with both of them. I think I'd rather have Trevor Lawrence in the long run.
And we're splitting hairs, but yeah.
Yeah. When the running back, you mentioned Miles Sanders. We got Miles Sanders, 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also, want to bring somebody else. We got J.K. Dobbins. He had 120 yards and a touchdown. Also, I did see him kind of running a little limpy on a long run that he had, but I mean, he still rushed for 120 yards. So going forward, would you prefer Miles Sanders or J.K. Dobbins?
This season or dynasty?
Just for the season.
For the season, Miles Sanders, because he's in a better offense, and I think the opportunities are going to be better for him. Because
Are you sure about that?
I do, because imagine if you're in the first week of the playoffs next week, you've got Anthony Brown as the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, and you're going up against. I'm seeing if I can beat myself to the punch to see who they play next week. They play the Browns. Yeah, forget it. I still think I'd rather have Miles because he's been doing it. Dobbins comes back. He did this earlier this year, right? And then he got hurt. So, and there's Gus Edwards. Miles Sanders really has no one else. I mean, you're not trading for either. You're happy with who you got, and you're glad that you stashed. If you had Dobbins down, you're like the 6th seed. You're like, dude, this is great. I'm going into the playoffs with a guy that just ran his brains off. I mean, and you get that cruddy Browns running defense next week. Did you see the Samaje Perine touchdown?
Oh yeah.
Where he just ran into the line. It's like no one touched him, and he just walked right back around and scored the touchdown. Like if a defense could do that, imagine how great that's going to be.
All right, so switching over here to I'm going to go straight to the top here with the wide receivers. I'm going Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. And Justin Jefferson, obviously Jefferson had 200 yards. He's great. Kirk Cousins had 400 yards passing. By the way, they were throwing it all over the place. And Chase, got the second game back from the injury, 119 yards and a touchdown. These guys are far and away like the 1 and 2, right? It's not even close.
I mean, after you draft quarterbacks in Superflex, they're not even close. There would have been an argument until you saw the coming out or existence of Jamison Williams. I mean, he did only have 1 catch, but Amon-Ra looks like he's going to have some company, so that takes him sort of out of that because he was starting to sneak up into that conversation as far as a possession receiver, kind of like the Wes Welker kind of guy. But those two guys are leaps and bounds above everybody else. Partially because of youth, because you could also argue what A.J. Brown may be.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could do A.J. Brown.
After Tyreek leaves, you could probably argue Waddle because he looks really good, but there's 2 of them, and they're killing it. So it is those 2. I think if you're drafting, you're foolish not to just take those 2 first.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they're the class.
Yeah, my tight end was going to be Evan Ingram. You got anything to say about him, really? I mean, he's just killing it.
Hey, he's earning his money. But preseason, we were talking about how – you follow the cash. They gave him a little more than you would think he could get. I forget the exact numbers, but it's like, you don't give some dude who's done nothing if you're not planning to use him. And they're finally using him. I guess they had to wait for Trevor to be good. But yeah, he looked the part.
All right, switching over to the paint. I got 2 of them here. These guys are just absolutely dreadful. That's Tom Brady. He just looks awful at the moment. He just looks old, missing passes. I mean, that whole team just looks dreadful. And my other guys, Derek Carr, right?
Yeah.
Derek Carr. I called myself before I said dude. I think he had like a point on Thursday. That was the come from behind from the great Baker Mayfield. Somehow I'm still not sure.
Where's his booyah?
I can't do it. I'm not. I was thinking about it, but I couldn't do it. But But yeah, I mean, we could talk about Baker if you got anything to say about it now. But those two, the Raiders are just disappointing from game to game.
Oh, I mean, let's just say Baker Mayfield was better than both of those guys. Tom Brady threw for like 256 as of this moment. I think it should be done. 256, a touchdown, and two interceptions. Baker had 230 and a touchdown. Derek Carr, a buck 37 and two interceptions. Which I mean, Derek Carr is your what I called Kirk Cousins the Mendoza line before. Derek Carr is probably going to fall into that, where usually he's not going to win you a week, he's not going to lose you a week, except for this week.
Yeah,
Holy moly, he's terrible. And my brother pointed out in in a league I was in, he's like, did they forget to pass to Devontae Adams? That game, first half, 3 for 71. He was lighting it up, great shots, and then, oh yeah, let's not pass him anymore. He's no good. Second half, nothing.
yeah, I don't understand that a lot of times. I would just throw it to him all the time.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Collins is playing great. Like, it's. They're like, hey, our running back's good. So let's forget about this. What we're actually really good at.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could be good at everything, but I guess Josh McDaniels doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Switching over to running back, I'm going to go Travis Etienne here. Pretty disappointing game considering the smackdown the Jaguars laid on the Titans. But what was it, 4 points, 5 points? Not very many points.
He had
but
1.9 per carry.
yeah, so that's not probably just a blimp in the radar. I'm hoping it's definitely going to be better than this, but you would think it'd be better than this when they score that many points.
Yeah, he's been down the last couple weeks here. Like, it's not been anything, spectacular. I mean, last week 13 of 54. The week before that, the Ravens 2 of 3. This, didn't he get hurt that week, I believe. And then this week he's getting the touches. So I guess that's if we're looking at the silver lining, he had 17 touches. And the Titans are a defensive minded team. So I think that's anomaly for that fact. And hey, Jaguars are 2 games out of first place.
Yeah, I mean, they could very easily, that was a big win as far as tiebreaker goes. I think Tennessee beat them. I think that's the second time they played. I think Tennessee beat. I could be wrong on that. Don't trust me on that. But my last guy, I want to stick with tight end here since I mentioned a good one. I know it's dear and true to your. I'm good. Mark Andrews. How worried are you? I mean, how worried are you with Mark Andrews right now?
How worried would you be if Gronk had went to Detroit a few years ago?
Probably be pretty worried.
How worried would you be if Travis Kelce got traded to Tom Brady right now? To any of those like just terrible teams, that's where he is. My brain wasn't even thinking to. I was like, oh yeah, he'll be. Oh no, there's no Lamar. He's Lamar's best friend. It's like Gronk and Brady are connected. Gronk was okay. Would have a couple games here and there, but with Brady, he was killer. Lights out. Like, I think I'd be curious about Kelce. We'll never know, but Kelce Mahomes connection. Lights out. I think he's linked to Lamar. I think if he's smart, he stays there. He doesn't do some free agent stuff later on because I think his career path and his success, I think they're tied to the hip.
Yeah, but I think if you get a competent quarterback in there, I think they could use Mark Andrews quite well. But like I said, I'd probably try, like I said, without Lamar Jackson, somebody like that, it's going to be tough for him. But yeah, that's all I got at the moment.
Surefire waste of a touchdown.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of these on here. I'm pretty sure you're going to bring them up. I haven't looked who you got, but while I've been watching, I've been a couple. I'm like, I don't even know who a couple of these guys are.
Some of these guys.
I don't know if you're going to bring up the Tampa Bay player. Are you gonna bring up a Tampa Bay player?
I did. I was making muffins when he scored, so I can add.
Because I feel like there's always a Tampa Bay player that we don't know that scores a touchdown. It's kind of like the Broncos.
It was Russell Gage.
Nah, it was somebody else.
No, it was Russell Gage.
Nah, maybe I'm thinking about another team. Never mind.
There's a couple other ones that were pretty tough, but Russell Gage. I mean, the first one, which is just going to be one, hope everything is well, but we are going to look at Denver versus Kansas City. There's a quarterback that had 3 passing touchdowns and only 1 interception, not 3 interceptions. That's Russell Wilson. Those are 3 for sure.
Surefire waste of a touchdown.
I just had to use that one. I didn't write it down, but I had to use that one.
I thought you were going to go somewhere with Jerry Jeudy. I was like, you can't go there with Jerry Jeudy. He did have
I was surprised you didn't bring him up. You're a Jerry Jeudy guy.
I was going to, but he hasn't done enough to warrant. I didn't want to. hype it
We'll
up.
talk about him Thursday as long as Russell can come out of that.
But Jerry Judy did have 3 touchdowns today.
Yeah, he looked all lights out. But the first guy actually I picked up on waivers this week. I'm very excited. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out Houston. And I'd missed the segments as I was jumping around. Were they alternating possessions for Driscoll and Mills?
I don't think it was really possessions. I think it was just play by play. They were just going with, man, both of them. I mean, it kind of worked. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the best their offensive that's the best their offense looked all season.
I mean, they were playing with house money the entire time. They almost knocked off the Cowboys, but Jeff Driscoll's the quarterback on this pass. Had a 28-yard pass. It sounds like the guy's nothing too big, so you're assuming it's probably, Damian Pierce out of the backfield. But no, he's hurt. Hopefully he comes back fine, ankle thing. It's to a guy I actually picked up this week. I've loved him. And it was his first scoring touchdown ever. That's a 28-yard touchdown reception for Amari Rodgers, formerly of the Green Bay Packers. Picked up off waivers. But that's a
surefire waste of a touchdown. I'm sure all those Packer fans are really happy at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't realize
he held on to the ball in Houston. He couldn't hold on to the ball in Green Bay.
It was a nice little catch too there, scoring. I was like, "Whoa, yeah, it's my boy!" That's why he got signed.
He had a couple catches.
Yeah, he had a good stat line. For that team. I mean, I'm looking at the receivers they got, and he could really mold. He doesn't have competition. Everybody's hurt, and Cooks doesn't want to be there, and Nico could be the big guy. This could be someone to monitor, Dynasty guys, if you got a spot. Let's look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had a 45-yard pass. We know it's not. Hopefully T. Higgins is good, so it wasn't him. Boyd was out, so it's got to be Jamar. No, it's some dude named Trenton Irvin with a 45-yard touchdown reception from Joe Burrow. Like, as I'm talking, I'm trying to figure out what position he plays because I've never heard
wide
of it.
receiver.
Oh, is this that guy is this the guy who was the child star? Yeah, that's him. He was a child movie star of some sort. They kept saying on the thing. So Trenton Irvin, 45-yard touchdown. That is a
surefire waste of a touchdown. Yeah, I thought it was Hayden Hurst at the beginning because of his hair, and then I was like, no, that's not quite. I was like, who is that? But yeah, it was. Never heard of that guy.
The guy who was the child star. Because I'm looking at my other names here. This next one, this will be the only time I can ever use it, but he's only caught one pass in the NFL. Jared Goff, 41-yard touchdown pass. We thought Amon-Ra. Nah, Chark's guy he's thrown to. Oh, look, Jameson Williams has his first catch. His only catch in the NFL is a touchdown. He's batting 100%. But I doubt anybody started him after that 0 stat line last week, unless you're a Lions fan. So that would make this a
surefire waste of a touchdown. So yeah, that's probably the last time you'll ever get to say that. So
I hope he. I mean, they pretty much figured he's a redshirt year anyway. But Jared Goff still slinging the rock. I didn't mention him, but a 48-yard pass to a guy that probably no one else started. Let's just add 2 guys. There's a 48-yard pass to DJ Chark and a 5-yard pass to Josh Reynolds. We're not starting any of these dudes. So that would make Jared Goff have. You're starting Josh Reynolds?
DJ Chark possibly. He was kind of. Possibly. I'm not saying it's sure, but possibly.
Josh Reynolds?
Josh Reynolds is definitely no.
I mean, you're on that team, you're going to start Amon-Ra St. Brown, the running backs biting your nails, and Goff in a 2 quarterback.
But yeah, that's stuff for Reynolds. I will give you a surefire waste of a touchdown. But I feel like
Chark, a medium waste of a touchdown.
There's Chark. I mean, the last couple of weeks he's been kind of like in the game plan a little bit. But yeah, definitely Reynolds.
Well, let's continue in this game. We had a 15-yard touchdown run. Oh, it's got to be Captain Touchdown, Jamal. No. Oh, it's your boy Swift. No. Oh, it's their 30th running back, Justin, formerly of the San Diego Chargers, Jackson, with the 15-yard touchdown run. That is definitely
surefire waste of a touchdown, man. Brutal, dude.
Here's one of my favorite players. I have him on a handful of teams. 10-yard pass from Ryan Tannehill for the Tennessee Titans. Trent Burks is out. It's got to be Robert Woods. No. Oh, I'm going to learn his name in the offseason. Chigozium Okonkwo. That dude is athletic as snot, man. But no one started him, right? So that would make it a
surefire waste of a touchdown. I'll give you this one, but I think in the future, I feel like his name's kind of big enough where people are going to start putting him in their lineup just because, like, oh, I kind of like this guy's maybe kind of good. But yeah,
he's really athletic. It'll be interesting if him and Malik can get a connection, and if they move on from Tannehill. Let's go to your favorite quarterback, Samuel Darnold. Had a 13-yard pass to DJ. Nope, Smith. That's a
Surefire waste of a touchdown, but it makes me feel good because I think I do have him somewhere. But I want to give a big old you to DJ Moore. Hate you, man.
We all do. Hey, at least one guy I know has been on the DJ Moore hate train from the get-go. He's had him out of guilt, but yeah, I've never been. Okay, last one I have. 66-yard pass from Russell Wilson to Jerry. No, it's a running. Oh, cool. No, there's no way. Latavius Murray? No, Marlon Mack! 66-yard touchdown pass from Russell Wilson. Yeah, I actually picked him up somewhere. Just why not? Because he's a second running back.
Didn't start him anywhere.
I didn't start him anywhere. That's why that makes this a.
Surefire waste of a touchdown.
Well, that's what I got. There was a lot of chalk on the rest of them, but those are just some fun ones. I hope Amari Rogers has a bunch more. I mean, these are some names that I think Amari Rogers, Jamison Williams, Chark, of course, probably Okonkwo, and I mean, who knows? Maybe Mac?
Mac would surprise me when he come out. I didn't even know he was still. I mean, I knew he got on the practice squad and he got called up, but I didn't know he was still on the roster. So.
Yeah.
Hey, kudos to you, man, for still grinding it out, dude. Kudos.
How about that?
So
give us some wisdom, man.
Give me some wisdom. I don't know if it's so much wisdom. I just want to wish everybody good luck in the playoffs. I mean, they're coming up right around the corner next week, most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So yeah, I want good luck to everybody. Make sure this is when you start paying attention. There's 6 seeds. I mean, just because you're 6 seed doesn't mean that you can't win the Super Bowl. I mean, we had Rich was a 6 seed.
I did it in that league too. That league is nothing but
everybody does. Yeah, just got like I said, just got to get in the playoffs. That's what you're shooting for. Just get in the playoffs. And as always, trust yourself and trust the process.